My name is Jonathan Bishop and I am a researcher for Crockle's Research. Today I'll be talking about improving knowledge engineering through interorganisational architecture, culture and agility. Throughout this presentation you can tweet me at Jonathan Bishop and use the hashtag #IKE'20 and depending on when you're asking it, you might get a response. Project management is something that many of us in the IT industry will be familiar with. It's generally regarded to be a systematic way of achieving an outcome such as a software project, and it is regarded by many in the IT industry that software projects are among those that are most likely to fail. This includes software projects that involve the creation of e-learning materials, because the fact is that e-learning projects are multidisciplinary, drawing people from a range of areas, so having the interconnectedness between those different experts is a challenge, and that's whether there's minimal use of ICT or whether ICT is used much more intensively, such as in large-scale virtual learning environments. So one thing we might think about looking at is how can we get effective project management? How can we manage single or multiple projects that effectively achieve what we want them to achieve? We are now going to look at two issues: effective project management and the software project management in particular. It is the case that whether one is managing a single project or multiple projects, effective project management is the key to success of those projects. At Crockle's, for instance, we managed a number of projects, both with high intensive ICT use and lower intensity, and there was varying success. We found with one software project, QPress, that it was not as effective as it wanted because the project was in part outsourced, whereas a software project we run where project management was done wholly in-house, the project was successful. So when considering effective project management, you've got to look at things like organisational architecture, especially when operating across boundaries. And in the case of software projects, these are seen often as investments by whoever is the client paying for them, and they're expecting a return on investment for that software project. However, software projects are achieved through software engineering, and if this is not done properly, this will lead to software failure. So that means there needs to be a disciplined approach to project management of e-learning project, with specification of the stages involved, whether that's through the waterfall approach or lean approaches. There needs to be effective planning of the project into stages. I'm now going to talk about the selection of project management methodology. In particular, we're going to be looking at adapting project management methodologies and implementing them. In terms of adapting them, project teams will often find it difficult to decide which is the best project management method for them to use. So for instance, we've had SSADM, we've had Prince2, Lean in the form of Kanban, and we've had Agile in the form of Scrum, and each approach on its own is not suitable for allowing organisations to achieve their goals in terms of software project development. Therefore, they need to be customised and tailored to the organisation by understanding the way that organisation works, and that will ensure that projects are successful and do not fail. And in terms of implementing these methodologies, considering organisational architecture, especially the fact that an organisation's architecture is not static, that is important a part of the project management methodology process itself, because the methodology needs to be based around the culture of an organisation and the structure that organisation has and how it operates. There are a number of problems with project management methodology selection. For example, there has long been a conflict between project management and the way in which an organisation is designed and operates. So, for instance, in public sector organisations like universities, there are often lots of departments and very little collaboration between those departments, which often operate as islands. So it could be that one project management methodology would work in one part of the organisation but wouldn't work in another. And equally, project management between two different organisations, even if they're using the same method such as Scrum or Kanban, it doesn't mean that the way their organisations use those methods are the same, so common ground needs to be found. However, it is known that embedding project management into the way an organisation operates is essential for its success. Even so, implementing standardised project management methodologies is no guarantee of success, as projects can fail due to management mistakes, planning mistakes, as well as external influences. So ensuring that everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet and the project management methodology is tailored to the organisation is essential in a project's success. So at Crockles, we've decided to conceptualise project management as an organisational issue. The diagram you can see here shows that if you've got two collaborating organisations, each will have their own culture, architecture and particular approaches known as organisational agility, and so long as these are accommodated for in an adapted version of a standardised project management method, then these two organisations can work effectively together. And it need not be two organisations, it could be two departments, faculties, units, or other forms of entity within a larger multinational organisation, for instance. It's important to consider organisational agility and change in the project management process, and all these are important factors in the success and are inseparable from traditional methods such as whether a project is delivered on time, within budget and at the required quality. We're now going to look at two important factors in understanding organisations and how best to adapt project management organisation, and we'll look at a further two shortly. So in terms of organisational culture, this varies between organisations, but there are often commonalities between how cultures manifest. For instance, it's known that management style and stakeholder performance are important factors in measuring organisational culture, and that when it comes to performance, leadership can be a key factor in assessing an organisational culture. Other factors include performance of staff, social and emotional intelligence within the organisation is also an important factor for organisational change. And in terms of organisational change, factors such as time, energy and resources are key issues, and organisational change is sometimes measured against key performance indicators such as turnover and commitment of key stakeholders. In terms of organisational agility, the ability of different aspects of an organisation to interoperate is a key factor. So, for instance, in a Kanban project, you'll list all of the things that need to be done to achieve a particular project. If your organisation is based around project management, these processes will be fixed. And knowing the processes of your organisation is important to its project success. Strategic management and research are known to be key in effective monitoring of organisational agility. For instance, at management level, setting the processes in operation is a way of ensuring that the organisational agility is achieved. And effectiveness of learning among personnel is known to affect organisational agility. So if an organisation has to do certain tasks to achieve its project, then the staff need to be able to carry those out, and if they're new processes, they need to be able to easily learn how to follow those new processes. And complexity is an important factor in organisational agility, because the way, say, a software project or other project is designed, understanding the complexity can involve understanding the individual pieces that make it up. And in addition, evolutionary fitness and technological fitness are important factors on measuring organisational agility, because an organisation needs to be able to adapt any methods it's using in order to take account of changes in the market and elsewhere. And in terms of organisational architecture, the more staff involved in developing an aspect of a piece of software, the more complex the organisational architecture will need to be. And in this context, organisational architecture means the way that decisions flow within the organisation, the way its departments and its staff are structured. And in educational organisations, it's known that the quality of research and teaching are directly affected by the organisational architecture of those institutions. And organisational architecture in many cases can be measured through management support, work discretion, reward and reinforcement, time availability, and organisational boundaries. And finally, other factors such as measuring organisational architecture include structure, division of labour, resource allocation mechanisms, and interdepartmental coordination. Here you can see the cornerstone model, which takes these 4 organisational factors into account, such as organisational culture, agility, change and architecture, and these are essential to ensuring that a project is successful. It's just without one being accommodated can result in the project failing. For example, if an organisation doesn't have the organisational agility to know what it's doing and how it's doing it, then a project can be delayed and it may fail due to staff becoming unavailable, for instance.